First speaker is in his 6th year as head coach at Landry Walker. He guided his team to the Class 5A state championship in 2016 as the Charging Bucks whipped West Monroe 50-21. They scored 50 or more points in all 5 of their playoff victories. Landry Walker will play Bonneville this coming Thursday night in the district contest. Please give a warm quarterback club welcome to Coach Emanuel Powell of Landry Walker. Emanuel?
Good evening, good afternoon. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. What are those days? 50 or more points. I need them now. Just talk a little bit about my football team right now. We're in the middle of district play. We just had a heart-wrenching loss to John Eric, I think one of the top teams in the state. But we're replacing 18 players right now, and again, where are the days with the Keaton Thompsons and Tevin Bushes? But I think right now we're finding our way, and we're fighting to put a real solid season together, and just managing expectations and getting the kids to play all together as one. You know, that can be a real big deal for us right now. So I think as the playoffs come along, you will see a different Landry Walker football team, and I think we'll be a tough out at the end of the day. But right now, I think we're fighting real hard, and you know, like you said, we come up and we play Bonneville this Thursday night, and big things are ahead for the Landry Walker. Any questions, anything you all may want to ask me, Kane? You know, well, we try to put together a real tough schedule, out of district schedule. I think we start off with John Curtis. Week 2 we played Edna Carr, and week 3 we played Warren Easton, which is John Curtis is ranked #1 in the state, Carr's ranked #1 in the state, Warren Easton #2, and we just played John Eric, who's #6 or 7 in the state, and those are the losses to us right now, and gives us an opportunity to measure where we at and things that we need to get better at. So when the playoffs come around, you know, we can really show who we are. At the end of the day, it's not really about wins and losses. It's about power parts and power rating. So you have to play the real better teams that are in the state to get a real good season in the playoffs. That's where my mindset is and why we schedule those type of games. But anybody that knows me, we don't shy or run away from anybody. We try to play all the best because we feel like we're one of the best. And that's where we at Landry Walker.
Talk about a few of your better players, Coach.
Well, I think we're led by Chad Alexander, who's an outstanding running back. He's committed currently right now to New Mexico. He has a few other offers that he's looking into. We have the Tawan Griffin, he's his first year playing football. He's a 2-time state basketball champion. He's probably our best wide receiver, one of the top wide receivers in the state right now. And on the defensive side, we're led by Corey Chairs and Demone Johnson, who are some of the outstanding players that's playing for us right now.
Any other questions at all for Coach Powell?
Okay, well, thank you for inviting me to the quarterback club. I appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach Powell. And again, Landry Walker and Bonneville on Thursday night in District A5A play. Our next speaker is graduate of Leon Gottschall and Nichols, 48 years of coaching under his belt, that's all. 21st year at St. Charles Catholic, he guided the Comets to the 3A state title in 2011, state championship game appearances in 2005, 2006, and 2016. Coached Lutcher to a state championship in 1977, coached Riverside to a state title in 1983, served as the head coach at Jesuit, and an assistant coach at Tulane for many years. St. Charles Catholic will host Haynes Friday night at 7 p.m. Please give a warm welcome to Coach Frank Monica of the St. Charles Catholic Club.
Thank you very much for having me, Kenny. Coach Powell averages 50 points a game in the whole playoffs. We can't score 50 points if the defense left the field. You know, I think it would take us 5 plays, because we figured out in 5 plays, or something like that. You know, it was a great week to be involved in South Louisiana football. You know, first of all, we have to congratulate all the pro teams, the Saints, you know, for what they've done so far, and Drew Brees' record. I think that's pretty special, being here in the New Orleans area, and you know, that's to be honored. And I use him, Drew Brees, as an example of my football team all the time, because I've been to the OTAs inside their meeting room, and that guy is just, you know, he really studies the game more so than what he does on the field, but he studies the game. His preparation is just unbelievable. A special thanks to, I mean, congratulations to Coach Orderon in LSU. And you know, Coach O and I go back a long ways, and I actually told him that he was going to surprise some people this year. Never thought to this extent. And I'm really pleased with Steve Insminger, what he's done, because he keeps people off balance in the passing game and running game. That's very special. Tulane, I think you know, Terrence Revolve, I've been to his practices, and I've never seen a more organized practice. So they're going to get things done. I really think that. And you know, here's Nicholls State, Southeastern, both having fine years and good friends of ours. So congratulations. It's a good time to be involved in South Louisiana. We're at St. Charles Catholic. We're like Coach said, we're in the middle of our district play. And right now we still have some goals. We've played an awfully tough schedule. I looked at the other day, you know, we played the Terrebones in the scrimmage. We went against University High, who I think is probably, Coach, no offense, but they might be the best football team that I've seen in years. They have 6 SEC commitments and one Clemson commitment. And they got 2 other kids that haven't committed yet. I think they can probably, you know, they can scrimmage LSU and probably go to overtime, you know, something like that. They're really good. Coach Mahaffey does a great job with them. And so they're really good. And we have, and let me put that in perspective for you. In all my years at St. Charles, we have yet to have an SEC player. I think we will have one. I think we've got a kid by the name of Mason Narcisse that he's about 6'3.5", and he goes about 280. I think he's going to be, you know, he's just a junior. So I think he's going to be okay. And I got another kid by the name of Bryce Sophomore. I think that will get recruited down the line. And right now, our offense is struggling. You know, I think the only way we can score right now is on a Madden game. And I think that sometimes I don't think we hit the right button there. But we do have a good group of guys. I got about 20 seniors, and once we run through this gauntlet of a schedule, because you know, East Ascension is an undefeated team. We played Hannon in a jamboree. They're an undefeated football team. Country Day is an undefeated football team. And Destrehan is a 1-loss team. And we're a school with just 400 kids. That's 8 through 12, and that's boys and girls. You know, so I mean that's what we play. But that's the schedule that we have, and our kids expect to play against good competition. Right now, so we're just trying to get there, and hopefully we can get a little bit better by the time the season ends. You know, the good thing with our football team right now, the 22 that started the season are still on the field, and that's really big nowadays, because you know with the injury factor involved, and so a lot of that is is preparation and off-season work. Just a note, and I'll get out of your hair, Kenny, with anyway. I'm on the clock, right? Anyway, the LHSAA deal, as most of you know, the select stuff, I don't know what's going to take place with that. From the select side, the only thing that I would like to see done is I'd like to have somebody we can go to on the select side for issues, because you see, what's happened with LHSAA, we passed a rule on the select side 2 years ago that select people can decide their own fate for playoff systems. And I would really like for us to get together, but we don't have a hierarchy. We don't have a committee. So we're still at the mercy of the executive committee. All I want is to sit around the table and say, okay, this is how we should structure our own playoffs. And right now, it's a situation where, you know, we're obligated to the Superdome for another year. But I can see in the future where I'd like to see satellite championship games, like, for instance, the 5A be at Tulane, the 4A be at ULL, and so forth, something like that on the select side. We can't control the rest of it. And what's going to come down, I think, at the end is, I don't know if whatever's going to take place in the future, Mr. Bonine, I think he's very approachable, and he's trying to do the right thing. But I think at the end, there'll be more people later on put on the select side when it's all analyzed. I think that would be a move later on in the future. But I think it's a strong, the LHSA is a strong organization. The football in Louisiana is as good as it's ever been. A lot of prospects. I think Louisiana is ranked 5th in the nation in Division I football players. And per capita, that's 5th in the nation supplying Division I football players. And a lot of that attributes to these kind of coaches like this, you know, that not as sloppy like me. They got real guys out there. But I appreciate you guys having me, and I hope that you guys can come visit. If you come to St. Charles, I'll treat you some dead chicken and something like that. And we have some cheap wine too. Kevin knows that, right, Kevin? He enjoys it all the time. Are there any questions? I don't have any answers. Are there any questions? Paul?
Speaking about the playoff system, right now there's 4 groups in select.
Yes, sir.
Would it make sense to maybe go to 3 and have less teams go?
I don't know if it's going to go to 3. I think that I know one proposal that's being put up. They're trying to balance off where at least you have 16 in each bracket, because right now we only have, like for instance, the Division I only has 13 teams. And there's another division, our division for instance, we're forced, if we're 3A school, to play against 4A competition. We're having to play a school of 400 to play St. Thomas More, that's got 1,000. You know, and that's a big diversity there. But they still would have 4, but I would like to see it balance it off where everybody gets 16. And this is on a personal note. I would like to see us, and that still might come on the agenda, put it on the agenda about doing away with the Jamboree, give the select schools another date. Give us another date, because right now, most select schools can only play 13, because they're going to get a bye in there. There's a bye prior to the state championship game. So what I'm saying is that if you ever propose that you have the option, an option to play another game instead of a Jamboree. Jamborees, to me, have never made sense. They've never made sense to me because, you know, you do everything you do for a game, but it's you know, you play 18 minutes less. So I would like to have another game, to at least give us an 11th game. In fact, Mississippi does it. And you'd be on par with Mississippi school. We played a good Mississippi school. So you're on par with their schedule also. I mean, now, there's still time to do it. All that has to be put on the agenda by November 1. But right now, they're 4 champions. We're still obligated to go to the Superdome for that. And the problem with that is that at the 10 o'clock game on a Thursday morning, that is not very smart. You know what I mean? First of all, they talk about education. It's pretty tough to get people there on a Thursday morning.
Coach, you mentioned before that you like multiple sport players, like Coach as a basketball player. Do you have a lot of multiple sport players?
That's a good question. 65% of our kids at school are multiple sport players. That's so big, Paul. In fact, what people are doing now, they're getting these basketball players, for instance, that are 6'3", 6'4". You know, in basketball, that's average for a college guy. You can find one in every gym, but you get a 6'3", 6'4" receiver out there that can run, especially one that can catch. You know what I mean? Now, we got one out there, but he can't take it out of a spiral. You know what I mean? But hopefully, if you can get a guy like that, they make great football players, and they become an automatic prospect just by his height alone. And as everybody knows, provided they have the grades and the GPAs and stuff like that. Good question. Anyone else?
Coach, I got a question right here. In order to get things done and changed with the LHSAA, you know, with the schools, you know, like you mentioned, your proposal for the Jamboree or even the select changing the playoffs or something like that, what has to happen? Is it a 50% vote amongst all schools, private and public?
Yes. Before the General Assembly, they changed the rule. It used to be a majority. And last year, 2 years ago, they changed that rule to that now you need a 50% vote. I'm sorry, a 2/3 vote. It used to be just 50%. Now it's 2/3. That's awfully hard to get.
What's the breakdown, public, private? What's percentages select, what's percentages non-select in that vote?
In that vote, you have over 300 total schools and about 70 select schools, somewhere in that number. But now, what you can do, select schools are now allowed to vote on their own issues that don't impact the rest of the school. That's allowed, and that's what I'm referring to. So if you can, but we do not have a committee. We don't have a hierarchy that we can go to, so we really don't have any leadership with that in mind. Does that make sense? Before the entire body. Well, anyway, listen, I'm sorry to confuse you and bore you, but come over and see me anytime. And in fact, if you can play right tackle, you can play Friday night. Thank you very much.